Welcome back to the Alone with the Mouth podcast, the podcast where I spend 8 to 12 minutes gaslighting you into thinking that this is, in fact, a good podcast. Normally for these episodes, I take my little journal and I write down a couple of ideas or thoughts or just words, and then I improv for like 10 to 12 minutes, try to say a couple of funny things throughout. But I don't have much this week or today. I filmed these at random. I've definitely been dealing with a lot of burnout recently. So for those of you who don't know, I'm currently in school at college, a sophomore, doing digital media stuff, doing camera stuff. And it's been a lot the last month or so. It's been a whole lot of just every day has just been schoolwork, and that's all it's been, which is obviously what I signed up for. It's fine. But I haven't been able to do much creative stuff recently. I do a lot of writing. I like to write poetry. I like to write comedy sketches that I post on a different channel. I like being creative. It kind of helps me definitely mentally, I think, throughout the days and weeks. And for the past month, it's kind of only been school. And not even like the school that I signed up to do. Like I signed up to learn about cameras and online media stuff. And I'm learning about like biology. So not that much of an issue, but I've definitely been experiencing burnouts. And for me, burnout kind of affects me in a couple of different ways. I don't know how burnout affects you, how often you experience burnouts. I'm currently on the start of spring break. I have a week off, thank goodness. I think spring break didn't really help the burnout because for the past like 2 weeks I kept thinking like, oh, in 2 weeks I'll be able to just take a break. So the last 2 weeks were not very productive. For me, burnout really hits on when it comes to a lot of the little things I need to do. Like I had a lot of big projects in the last couple of weeks, and I got all of those done. It's not the big things, right? Because the big things I feel so much pressure that my body kind of forces itself to do. But I find myself being affected in some of the little things in life. I find myself struggling to respond to people's text messages. I just kind of see them on my phone, and I just think I'll get to it later, and I never get to it later. Sometimes I end up skipping meals. Sometimes I need a haircut. Sometimes I don't get haircuts. It affects me in a lot of like the more minute details of life. A lot of the more minute details of things I need to get done. Sometimes I don't shower for a couple of days, which is, I'm a stinky guy. Sometimes I can be a little stinky boy. My feet especially. My feet are icky. And so that's kind of like I think the biggest way that burnout has affected me. I don't respond to emails. I don't. Sometimes I do like a lot of my little assignments like last minute, the night of, or the morning before. So burnout definitely kind of affects me in a lot of the little things in life. It also affects my creativity. So today, I'm filming this on Sunday. I've been off for a couple of days. I've wanted to do some writing, but I just got nothing kind of in the tank right now. Despite the fact that I haven't done anything creatively, or not that much creatively in the past couple of weeks, I have nothing left in the tank, which makes no sense. I feel like I should be ready to write and ready to think of all these ideas, but really, my brain just kind of wants to do nothing. And normally, I try to kind of push through it, and I think I'm going to have to get to a point. I think I am soon just going to have to start to push through it. But the last couple of days, I've kind of just been letting my brain relax, letting my body relax, not just my brain, but my whole body sort of just relax. And hopefully that's helping. I think it is. Trying to get some sleep. Like I said, it also affects how I treat myself. I know the haircuts and the showers and the eating. It's all very minor stuff. Not that those things are minor things, but they kind of affect me. They don't affect me majorly, but yeah, it's just kind of like this. I feel like I'm stuck. If that makes sense. Like this silence is just my body and my soul. There's nothing. Very empty. So that's kind of one of the things I'm pushing through right now. I don't know how you tend to struggle with burnout, how you tend to respond to it. For me, I just kind of pushed through until I had the opportunity for a break. Lucky enough, I was afforded this opportunity for a break. I don't know how much longer I could have gone. And so now I'm just like, I want to start working. I want to start being creative again because that helps me so much, but I just have no energy to be creative. And so in that sense, I'm kind of hurting myself. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. So now that we're done with the not so silly part of the podcast, I think some of the things that I need to pack, let's think of some things that we need to pack on a road trip. Some of the essentials. All right, we got the clothes. Obviously, you need the clothes. You need the little suitcase, the little duffel bag with the undies and with the sakis. with the panties, not the well, that's with the pants, and then with like the shirts and stuff. What are some other important things? If you're going down south, if you're going to the beach, you gotta get that sunscreen. You can buy sunscreen while you're down there. I don't know if you've tried to buy sunscreen at like a resort or a hotel. It's like $14 a pop. So don't do that. Buy sunscreen at like Kroger or something before you leave for your vacation, before you leave for your road trip. Make sure you bring earbuds. That way you don't need to listen to those around you because people are annoying. There's this equation, this graph where the longer you spend with someone, the more of a horrible person they are, or you find that they are. We're all horrible. The question is, how horrible do you think I am? And that question is based off, the answer to that question is based off how much time you've spent with me. If you spend a lot of time with me, you know I'm a terrible person. If you don't spend too much time with me, you think I'm alright. So, lesson here is always keep a distance. Push people away. That is my advice to you. And that's probably good advice, right? I try to pack some gum during my road trip. Pack a little bit of gum. That way I can start smacking on it, right? Helps with the ears, helps unclog the ears. When someone keeps yapping at you, you can give them a piece of your gum. And then hopefully the bacteria so obviously because you give them the gum that you were chewing. And then hopefully the bacteria will get inside their mouth, infect it, and it'll hurt for them to open up their jaw, which will keep their mouth shut for the rest of the road trip. So that's been pretty effective for sure in my life. A couple of other important things to bring on a road trip. I would say a charger, right? You never know when your iPhone is gonna die or when the person next to you won't stop shutting up, and so you need to take the cord and I think some other things that you should bring on a road trip are bring a notebook and a pencil. That way you can maybe do some drawing, right? Get those creative juices flowing on your road trip. Start drawing, maybe draw the environment. You can draw the person sitting next to you who won't shut up, and then you can draw this really like twisted image of them where their like jaws getting ripped out of their skull. You draw this picture where you're like ripping their jaw out of their skull. And then you can take the pencil too and just if you need to get them to shut up. This is a pretty violent episode of the Alone with the Mouth podcast. That was not intentional, but sometimes we get a little dark on these. I think the final thing that you need to bring is one of those those little skateboards, the little mini skateboards. I only said that because I have one sitting in front of me. The tech decks, that's what we're talking about. These little tech decks. If you're listening, it's like the little mini skateboards you can like play with just 2 fingers. I like to take those. They can be entertaining, definitely. Can keep you company for a little bit. You can, I like to find different like environments to play with them on. And one of those environments can be the unconscious body of the person who was yapping right next to you. You can like ride on their back and like go over their head and their neck, and you'll have to wash off the tech deck once you're done, because there will be some blood residue left on it, but I think that's all you need for your road trip. Going back to the idea of burnouts, I feel like, because like I need to understand that I am in fact working hard, because I literally am working hard, but also I struggle kind of with the daily, like, I'm not working harder. Like, there's a lot of people out there who are working harder than me, and that's true. Most adults are probably working harder than me. Maybe. Some adults, a lot of adults are probably working harder than me. Are definitely working harder than me. And so I think I always feel a little bit of guilt when it comes to burnouts, because I know that there are other people who are working harder than me and aren't burnout, or who are just like kind of fighting through the burnout. So that's something I'm trying to work through as well. Just kind of the understanding that it's okay to feel burnout, right? Don't beat myself up for feeling this way. But also knowing that, okay, I will get through this somewhat soon. I've experienced this before, and burnout for me at least is never an everlasting feeling. So hopefully that'll last. It'll last not very much longer. To finish off this episode, in which I don't really know what to talk about or what to improv about. Not really in a funny mood, I must admit. Don't really feel like being a little goofy boy. But I do want to talk about. I lost my license at the age of 15. So first of all, at the age of 16, I apologize. I lost my license at the age of 16 because at one point I was going down a back road. It was about 9 a.m. I was going down a back road, going approximately 82 miles an hour. Some would say that's unsafe. Some would say that's dangerous. And I would agree. And I'm going about 82 miles an hour down this back road, and I see these headlights facing towards me and coming at me from about a mile away. It's a pretty flat road. I can see pretty far ahead of me. And so my car is speeding down, and it looks like they're going pretty fast too. So we're speeding, and we're colliding towards each other. And our cars continue, we're half a mile away. We're a quarter mile away. Both of us are we're both trying to be in the middle of the lanes, but we're going pretty fast. And so we're both kind of edging more towards that double yellow line. And as we approach each other, as we're right about to kind of cross paths, we go right past each other, and nothing bad happens. I got something in my eyeball. Except for the fact that there was a car that was right in front of me that was only going like 40 miles an hour, and so I hit the back of them, and they went flying off the road into a ditch, and I followed suit into a ditch with them, and I get out of the car because how you guys have seen car crashes in like movies and stuff. Humans can survive anything. And I get out of the car and I go to the door of the other person to check on them, and nobody's in there. Nobody's in the car. Because they weren't wearing their seatbelt. They had flown out the front windshield. And they were fine. Because again, humans can survive anything. And I asked them, I said, why weren't you wearing your seatbelts? That is extremely dangerous of you. What is wrong with you? And they quickly responded. In these words, I don't think I'll ever forget these words. I didn't think I would have to wear a seatbelt in a neighborhood. Turns out it's not technically a back road if there's like houses on both sides. And so I think the big lesson from this story is you're never safe from me. Thanks for listening to the Alone with Mouth podcast. The podcast where I sit by myself and let my mind go wherever it wants to go. And some episodes are like this one, where my brain is melted and it's not very fun to listen to. I hope you have a great day. Please follow the podcast. Please check out my book of poetry in Amazon. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel called Payton. Love you.